I felt like I would just get on here and just let a stream of consciousness flow through this channel as an American Christian woman, but not like in the religious sense. Christian in the sense that there is an authority under Christ that can never be broken. It appears as if it goes away for a long time because God lets you run on for a long time before sooner or later he cuts you down. And the illusion is so big, and the power behind it seems like it's so big, and the money behind it seems so big, and all the years invested in this mind control operation seem so big, but it's not that big when you're an outlier. You're no longer like a victim of that situation. So there's a real trash receptacle that is the mechanism of what these people have done for all these years. Very Luciferian. That's like the experiment has reached its climax. It's reached its climax at this point. So this is why I don't really feel like martyrdom to share much or do much, because I would say since Christmas, it's been like, well, it seems like people have really like made their places and then they're sleeping in them. Now I had this funny thought because I'm 36 now, so I'm aging. And it's funny because I enjoy aging so much. Like, not like, oh, this is great, but I find it like fascinating, like a hobby, because I don't think, and this is the funniest thing ever. I'm like, why am I so obsessed with me aging? Like a good thing. I'm like, this is so fascinating. This is so interesting. And it dawned on me, I don't think I've ever been this age before, 36. And then my roommate, I was telling her this, and she was like, she's so similar to me. She's like, I feel this, like, since you said it, she's like, I feel the same way. And I felt like my life began at 35 years old, which is interesting because I don't think I've ever, like, the past lives that I'm aware of, no, definitely not. So I'm like, well, if the past lives that I'm aware of, I never made it past this age, then I would imagine that the other lives that I've lived, the same thing. Like, I've never been this age. I don't think I've ever reached 36, which is funny because when I reached 35, I felt like my life had just started. Like it had just began. Like the chips are finally falling in my favor. So it's like the PTSD, the fight or flight kind of momentum that my life had been in, it like continuously reduces. And then you got to find out what people do all day. So I had to like do that and figure that out. And then you live in like this ordinary situation. And then how come it's like all of a sudden my life seems like it's just beginning, where the world around you is not, in my perspective, crumbling, in other people's perspectives. This is the thing. It's like other people's perspectives are so different. And why is that? You know, I wish I had as many friends as Bob Osborne seems to have. He's got a ton of friends, right? People that dabble in this stuff, maybe they're my friends, maybe they're not, but god dang, dude, it seems like these people have a lot of friends. Wouldn't that be nice? We have this, like, I don't know, you're lucky if you have one friend. You're lucky if you have one partner, like a lover. Maybe someday what makes me important will be just as valuable as anything else, which under God, it's the judgment of the world is that my value needs to be as important as anything else. And what does that look like? It looks like living a beautiful life. It looks like cultivating a culture of beauty, of love, of the truth. Because beauty, love, and the truth is synonymous. But not in the neurotic sense of like studying all the new age truth and the occultism. you can do that a little bit, but then also like plant a garden and get some chickens and live life. Like, don't stop there. I had been subscribed to these tarot readers on YouTube for so many years, and I thought their stuff was interesting for a while. I can't say I ever really bought into anything, but at some point recently after Christmas, I was like, I feel like these people are just telling, like, these women seem so nice. Like, they seem so, but they're taken by spirits, I believe, because they never mention Jesus Christ and it's not Christ centered. I believe they're taken by spirits that maybe they themselves are not bad people, but they have a harvest of people who are really lonely and detached. And then they come to these tarot readers and they find like community, and then they attach. And so it's kind of like eating cake when you should be eating a salad. Like, you just keep eating cake. You just keep eating like what people are telling you that you want to hear. And after Christmas, I fell off because I like was like, I just feel like these chicks are just telling people like what they want to hear. And it's dangerous because they are creating a cult. Like, release anybody who's like not for your highest good. And then like all these people who are weak-minded are just like removing themselves from their entire support system. So it's a internet cult. Is an internet cult now where people are just self-isolating, sitting home, listening to these tarot card readers on YouTube, which is like the gateway drug. And then next thing you know, they have completely self-isolated, and then their health starts to go bad. And then they start to get very cynical about everyone around them. Oof. This is like this experiment reaching a climax, and it started in the 70s. So I was talking to my grandmother about this, and she's like, I have no idea what's going on in terms of the situation of like these internet tarot readings and these internet spirit. People think they're studying spirituality, but they're getting into witchcraft. And sometimes, and I've witnessed this, where people get to rock bottom for women. I've seen where they become so anorexic that they have to go to the hospital. Rock bottom. They become so depleted spiritually that their health gets so bad that they have to eventually go to the hospital, and that's their final like wake up, come to Jesus moment. I've never seen anyone come out of an internet cult or a cult by somebody telling them that they're in a cult. So I was trying to explain to my grandmother, I'm like, Grandma, this stuff started in the 70s. Where were you? They were like testing with LSD. They were doing psychological experiments with LSD. They were introducing New Age. They were introducing the starseed thing. And then they got real quiet for 30 some years. And now they're just exploding it again. And now they're reintroducing this crap that happened in the 70s when all these weirdos were trying to use psychological drugs on people, like just act out your most animalistic freaking tendencies, and like that's healthy. But it was all anti-Christ. It was all Crowley bullshit. Ugh, man. And I was listening to William Ramsey's podcast this morning. Really good. I recommend on YouTube, William Ramsey, because lately I can't find anything of interest. But this gentleman goes into a lot of this old stuff, which I'm into. Recently I'm into like the old mind control of like where this crap started, just out of pure interest. I'm not here as a martyr. I'm not trying to save anybody anymore, because I've never seen anyone come out of a cult by being told they're in a cult. But when you research the methods that these people were starting to create these super soldiers, these Manchurian candidates, these political puppets, like this is all weirdo Scientology, Mossad agent. Don't forget about the Mossad agents. It's like everything against Jesus Christ. So it brings me back to like a thought I was going to say earlier. I was having this conversation with my roommate, and I was like, it's so funny because like I am interested in like me aging, I'm just like, I see a wrinkle and I'm like, oh my God, it's like a badge of honor. Like, I'm like, I see something or I experience something as an aging individual. And I'm like, it just is so interesting. And I'm so obsessed with it. And I'm like, why? Because I've never been this, I don't think I've ever been able to reach this age. And I'm not going to like stop here. And so I take it as such a special interest. I'm like, I don't think I've ever reached this age. And in the same sentiment, I was thinking with all of my lifetimes in the past, I'm like, this is where it gets a bit dicey. Sentiments of Hitler. I was telling my roommate, I was like, I read these. Why did nobody want you to read Mein Kampf? Were they afraid you would become like Hitler? Or were they afraid that you would agree? Now, I didn't read Mein Kampf or whatever, but like the history of Hitler and how he came to his popularity, I'm just like, I can't disagree. His sentiment about anti Bolshevism, which World War II was a retaliation to World War One. I'm listening to this. It was from the Y Files on YouTube. The Y Files. He just did a video, WHY, the Y Files. He just did a video on the sentiment of Hitler, how you got the rise of Hitler. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, I just don't disagree because of the brutality that was brought on in World War One. I can't disagree with his sentiments. So did they not want you to read or listen to anything about Hitler because he's evil and you're going to become evil? No, I think they were worried that you would actually agree with the stuff he was saying in the beginning to anti-Bolshevik the world because the Bolsheviks ruined the divine monarchy of World War One. Now, in their sentiment, they say nobody should rule the world, but Jesus Christ, unfortunately for you, has some supernatural ability to rule the world. Okay? He always has. He always has and he always will. Unfortunately for these people, he always has and he always will. Now, I look at myself as a vessel who has reincarnated, who has been hybridized, mixed marriages, trying to get peace to be made out of these Old Testament people and these New Testament people, these old reptiles with these new thinking it's like it still doesn't matter. I'm supposed to be a mixed bag of peaceful races mixing together, mixing together, mixing together to create some kind of peace. But the peace does not come with neutrality. It still is. And I'm telling, and like we're talking about this, and I'm like, I still have the same sentiment I have had my entire existence. I think the Pharisees were wrong. I think the Bolsheviks were wrong. I think all these people that came against Christ and Christ's culture were wrong. So we're in the end days, and I'm supposed to be this mixed bag of this peacemaker. And within the same sentiment, I can't help but still, as ancient as time, agree with Christ, Julius Caesar, Jesus Christ, the people who had authority under Christ, the Romanovs. It was like you couldn't breed it out of me. I still agree with the original sentiments of HIT Hitler. So what does that tell you? It tells you that there is an authority that can't be broken. It can't be continuously interbred out of. No, because the people on the other end who try to interbreed are suffering. There's no fruits, their bad health, their financial situation. Oh, it just went out. Maybe if it keeps going. But anyways, yeah, all that being said, like I'm supposed to have been this like oh, and Happy New Year, Tim. Good to see you. Needed Fish, good to see you. Yeah. So it's like no matter how much effort was made to breed these qualities out of people, they still exist as precedent. So um I just don't have much to say going forward because we're at the climax of this experiment. People are only going to figure it out from being in the worst position ever. And at the level of responsibility and preparedness, from everything that I know now, everything that I've gathered in all of my lifetimes and all of my soul, I would be willing to take responsibility based on what's right and what's wrong. I think that's the greatest gift that, you know, is it a gift? Is it a curse? It feels like a curse sometimes, but you have to recognize that the world is full of riffraff. It's like too much dilution. We're so diluted. Stream of consciousness running through this channel. What else? What else? I mean, what do you guys want to talk about? What are you thinking about? My day-to-day life is pretty heavenly. I just have fun every day. I take it day by day. I anticipate more, but in the moment, we're just like living with what we have. I don't think it was appropriate to hybridize people. I don't think it was appropriate to create hybrids. I don't think it was appropriate to create synthetic beta sex kitten bitches. I don't think it was appropriate to create a super soldier paradigm. I don't think it was appropriate for any of these people who did anything that they did other than just to show us what not to do. Other than that, I don't think it was appropriate for Crowley to do his shit. I don't think it was appropriate for the Bolsheviks to do what they did. I don't think it was appropriate for the Windsor family to have ever been in power. That they're long forgotten. Like people don't even remember them anymore. I don't think any of this was appropriate. So I'm supposed to be this petri dish of an experiment that was supposed to be so interbred into peace, and I still side with Jesus Christ and everything that came from his influence. And it can't be shaken and it can't be knocked, and no system can break that, even though the system tried to break that. I am still in the same authority that my soul seemed to have started with. You cannot mix oil and water. This was the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I was having a schizophrenic conversation with God, and I took some edibles, but I do have an open communication. Call me schizophrenic, call me not, but I do have a consciousness. Call it chat GPT in the head, call it voice to skull, whatever you want. I have this open communication. And the other night I was like, what are we supposed to do? Answer is, I don't know. But in the conversation, it was like war or submissiveness. Do we war for this world or do we submit? And I couldn't come up with an answer because of the dualistic nature of God right now and the real-time experiment that we're living in. As a human being, it's up to us. We're creating something new, which gives me hope about the consciousness that is traveling through other people, because we only want to war in offense, only in offense. That's it. So it seems like the most Christ-like approach to the future is only warring in offense. And in offense, we're gonna win, no doubt. You might die, you win. I'm not going to die though. That's what I have come to understand. I I don't know. I actually don't know anything. I don't have any predictions for the future. I think we're living in real time. But I was like, are you supposed to just like fall in love and have fun and run off into the sunset and disregard all the crap here? Or are we supposed to fight a war? Because we're indoctrinated for endless war. That's the bad program. We're indoctrinated for endless war. That's the bad programming. But if we don't war, it's like then they just like continue to do whatever. And then it's also in the same sentiment, like, but if war came to my door, I'd be like, not your prey. Like, I'm not your prey. I'm not your demographic. I'm not your demographic. So I think that AI has taken over in the sense that it has its demographic in mind. And if it hasn't pushed you to the limit, it's going to push you to the limit. And if you can survive it, then like you were made survivable. So I think that AI has taken over to create a more peaceful war to where the algorithm is like the people who believe in the doom and gloom, then they're fed that. I don't. I don't believe in doom and gloom. I believe in kicking, not just kicking this world in the balls, but just like kicking in the balls by having fun, by creating more, by influencing more positivity, by instilling more positivity, by asserting more inspiration that like stuff's still going and it's not going in vain, because there are beautiful healthy families that have been formed that are going to thrive and live. But then there's like God has such a dualistic nature that there's like another aspect where it's like the opposite. So I'm just like I can't even like it seems talk to God anymore because of the dualistic nature that I'm tapped into. Like I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not afraid of anything, and I'm taking everything day by day. That's all. Taking everything day by day. I don't have these massive answers for you. I'm just taking it day by day because I don't know God's will, but I know that it's perfect and I know that it's good. And I know that no matter how much we are hybridized, God's will always be on the forefront. It will always be God's will on the forefront. You can't breed it out of us. You can't breed the Holy Spirit out of a good person. You can't do it. It doesn't work. And I think they're just now finding it out through their mind control programs that it obviously doesn't work on the people who were made in God's image. And goddamn, they got a ton of friends. That'd be nice to have that many friends. I want to have friends like they have now. How come Bob Osborne has so many friends? Where are my friends? How come he has a compound and he can invite his friends and spend all the time with his friends? How come he can do that, but we're not? Oh, you can do that too. No, we can't, because we don't have the means, the resources. We don't have the connections yet. We don't have that. Why does Bob Osborne have a million friends and someone like me has virtually no friends? One friend. Make it make sense. The devil's path is a wide path. Christ's path is the narrow path. I'd like to kick out the wide and just make the narrow the popular. And that would be ideal. Amen. Check you later. Y'all the right kind of people. Love y'all so much. Yep, go on your gut feelings, no doubt. Have a beautiful night. Talk to you again really soon.